I loved the choreography. Like, they were just delivering, were they not?
They were. And nobody was there for it.
I know, no one.
I was. You were.
I was.
Howdy, Meowers.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm Xander.
Oh, hi, Xander. I'm surprised that you didn't find any problem with me saying good evening, because who knows when it is when these people are listening to this. But it's nice to have you with us today, Xander. What's going on?
Thank you. Well, first of all, if you notice a little bit of a change in appearance, ignore it. Unless you think it looks great, then let us know. But if you don't notice anything, that's good.
Don't worry yourself about it.
Yeah, just pretend like everything is exactly how it always is. But it will hopefully be back to the way that it was in the next episode.
Yeah.
So anyway, today we are talking about K-pop because BlushCat is a K-pop themed podcast. And we are talking about K-pop songs.
I have a question, Xander.
Okay.
It's off topic.
Oh, okay.
Is your name spelled with a Z or with an X?
Oh, with an X. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
So yeah, we're doing like forgotten favorites is the topic for today.
Yeah, so the general gist, my understanding of it anyway, is that it's songs that we really loved or, listened to a lot right when they came out or when we first knew about them. And then it sort of, it faded away and we forgot a little bit. And if we hear it nowadays, we're like, oh my God, yeah, that song. I forgot how good that song is.
Yes, precisely. So we're kind of pulling mainly from, title tracks because it would get a little too involved if we were talking just any K-pop song. So, we might slip in if we have some time, some non-title tracks, but that's okay. So I was kind of, inspired by a certain song that we can start with because we both have it. And the theme of forgotten favorites, I'll shout out YouTube Music for that playlist that they make. I just would feel guilty not shouting that out. So yeah, should we start?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And we're just gonna talk about them and kind of why they were so good in the first place, and maybe why we stopped listening to them so much. And I actually also kind of thought of this topic because last week we did our super long October comeback episode, and there's so many good releases. I feel like this year has a lot of really good releases, but I'm are these just that good in the moment?
Ooh.
Or are they gonna last? Is the hype gonna last? Or am I gonna forget about them and be oh yeah, I remember when I listened to that all the time?
Yeah. And yeah, it's not for me at least, it's not necessarily I forgot that it was good. We're calling it forgotten favorites.
Right.
It's I forgot how good this was, but it's more it's more you just forget to keep listening to it as much as you feel you should for how good it is.
Correct.
It's if this song is this good, why did I stop? Why haven't I listened to it as often?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's start with the first song, Twice, I Can't Stop Me.
Yeah. I was going to say it along with you, but then I chickened out.
Okay. Well, would you like to talk about this first or?
Sure. This song, I remember not really having any Twice song in their title track, music video, rotation realm, wheelhouse that I had thought that I really liked or would want to play before this song came out. And then they came out with this song and I was oh my God, this song is a bop.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was really nice sounding. It's got those retro vibes, but I just really I really like the whole energy of it. I like the whole energy and the sound, yes. But something that sticks out a lot to me, I think, that helps me helps push a song to an even like better place for me is, I know it's gonna sound a bit random, but is actually the styling involved. So it's not really about the song, but because we're talking about title tracks, they're all promoted tracks. So,
right. I think that's fair to talk about that kind of stuff.
So, because that's one of the biggest like interests that I have in K-pop is the fashion that goes along with it. And so I just like how with this song, even though it's retro vibes, they do have retro elements to the styling. And like for certain stages, it's maybe a little more retro or maybe a little less retro for others. But I like that they still took that and did it in like a trendy and or even like pretty way. Sometimes I feel like groups that have a really retro sounding song, like for instance, like GFriend Mago, like when I think about the styling for that, I think of it as more retro. Like I think of it as going deeper into like, the high-waisted flared like bell-bottom pants and the like blouses that are made out of like that polyester fabric or whatever. It gives a truer retro vibe to the styling, which in my mind tends to be a little like uglier. Like it's just a little bit less interesting to me. But when TWICE did their styling for this song, it's like they had retro elements, so you still got like a retro feel, but they did things that like had a modern twist or like a trendiness to them. And so I think that helps it to be like a retro song but still like fresh.
Okay.
That's all.
Well, for me, I think that when it came out, it had that, obviously, by now, the retro 80s sort of sound, which was still fresh at the time, but it became so extremely popular. And I feel like now that like uniqueness factor is gone. So maybe that's why I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I forgot how good it is because it doesn't like stand out as much anymore.
Yeah.
And honestly, the styling was never it for me. So it's like I prefer the MAGA. Like I prefer them to go all the way.
Ooh.
So I didn't really tune into like the actual stages that much, although I did really like the choreography, which is another reason I wanted to keep listening to it, is to see the choreography. But honestly, when they didn't show Jihyo's part during the Gaio or whatever that was, it was so disrespectful that honestly, I feel like after that, I just stopped tuning in as much. Yeah, I think just maybe I forget because it was so like, different, but now it's like very like a common sound.
Okay.
So I don't know. But it's a bop,
Uh-huh. Yeah, and it's not even that, like, I thought the styling, like, I wasn't like, ooh, I love their outfits. It was just more so that it's like there's more interest in the pieces that they're wearing that I feel like if they were wearing, like, more retro-themed stuff, it would seem simpler, probably. And so I would have less interest. Because like I just like to see like all the bits and baubles of the outfits, like how it's the dynamicness of it, and so I think that helped me to find it interesting. But yeah, that's a really good point about it was much fresher when it first came out. The retro sound was much fresher back then.
Yeah, I have another one where I think the fact that the concept was so fresh is really what initially drew me in, and that's the BOYZ Bloom Bloom. Now that was one of my favorite songs for a long time, or like favorite performances. I think like overall concepts, I should say. The song itself is like, there's nothing honestly that's like has the musical elements that I always really love in a song, but it is just so good at the same time. I literally listened to it and watched like stage performances of it all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Like I just loved the flowers and the bright concept, and I was really surprised to see that, you know, the BOYZ, the group that debuted with Boy, was now doing this concept. Like I had seen, like they did Giddy Up, but then like I only sort of knew about them, and like No Air kind of popped off, but I wasn't like tuned in. But Bloom Bloom was the release that made me stan the BOYZ, really. Like I was really just drawn to it. And so the song, I think I listened to it too much. So that's why I stopped listening to it for a while. Like it's not like I skip it or something. Or, well, you know, honestly, maybe if I'm like, you know, okay, Bloom Bloom. I think I just over-listened.
Oh, wow. That's interesting because, like, that was my first exposure to the BOYZ because you watched it so much. So for you to be talking about it, like, acting like that was like a fresh or new concept for that group specifically to even have done, it's like that's what I thought their concept was. Because maybe I saw the other ones, but like I didn't really know who they were yet or anything. When I started to like learn them, it was Bloom Bloom. So yeah, I mean, it's a good one. I never felt exactly that way about it as you did, but okay, well, I can transition into sort of a flowery concept as well. One song that I have that honestly, like, even just, I feel like it's still too new for me to have, like, let it fall off this much because it's like, and this one seems a little bit, maybe you guys, if you're a long-time listener, would be thinking, she didn't forget how good that song is. Like, she just talked about that. But still, like, I used to listen to it, like, at least pop it on once a day to be like, oh, okay, now let's turn this one on, watch this, listen to this. And now it's like never. And I'm like, wow, are you kidding me? It's so good. Darling by 17. So yeah, it's surprising as well if you're a longtime listener, right? Because that's not my concept. The flowery, the fields, the meadows, like it's not my concept. But that song is so good. It's just so good. I love the change that happens.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And
I love it.
It gets so, like, when the beat picks up a little, but it's still chill and, like, gentle.
And the dancing that goes along with that part.
Yeah.
Like, I just love it. It's so good. Like, and I feel like this is going to be the same way for most of the songs I'm talking about. But I feel like a lot of them have that, like, a differentness or, like, a change that happens in the song. Which I think helps me to like not get tired of it too quickly.
Yeah.
And also like a lot of these songs I'm going to be talking about have such a like on repeat feeling to them. As in like when it finishes, I want to start it again.
Yeah.
So I was really like, I listened to it so much, and honestly, I don't know why I don't know, like it's a mystery to me. I don't know why I like stopped.
It so much.
No, like why it fell off for me, you know? Like I still should be like, if I think about it, I like am upset that like I don't, you know, take it in more often.
I feel like it's maybe it's like it wasn't ever enough of a thing that's like, you know, okay, we released it. We did a couple stages actually on music shows, but then it's like, yeah, darling. I think they did a couple remixes of it, but then it's like, yeah, that's our song, but they don't really talk about it.
Yeah, no, that's so true. It's like it didn't have enough content for it, and or the content that there was for it, some of the times I didn't like it. Like I thought it was a worse way to like consume it. You know, I was like, I would rather just watch the music video, or like I would rather just watch this thing, because they were like releasing things here and there, but sometimes it's like, well, if there's not going to be really like the dance with it, or like, oh, you know, the sound of the dance, like of the breakdown part is a little different. So I think maybe, yeah, it couldn't last as long as it should have for how good the song was, because I didn't have enough content to like keep that aspect fresh.
Yeah.
I hate it when there's a really good song and there's just not enough content for it.
Yep, happens all the
It's
time.
terrible.
All the time.
Like, that's why we need like 20 stages of each song. Like, because then you could keep picking a different one over and over and over again, and like you could watch it a ton.
I feel like, just for a moment to say, like, I feel like we could do an episode on that. So write that down. Like, yeah, why I feel like it's been bad lately with promo, like in general with K-pop. Like, so many music shows are like on a break, or so many people are just not sending their artists as much, which is like, you know, there's no chance to hear the song anymore. I feel like they released the song, or, you know, there's so many pre-releases now, and it's like they release all the songs, but then it's like, once it's time for the song that is like they're actually supposed to be promoting, the other song seems like old news, but it's like it just came out. It's not old news, but it like feels like it is. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Like, they can get like a little bit overshadowed by other things.
Yeah.
And they could be like instead of having like 10 performances of the one song, it's like, oh, we have 2 performances of this song, and then we have like 3 performances of this song, and then we have, or they'll do like, they're like, oh, well, we have like a couple of stages, and then we also have the studio choom, and then we also have a play your color, and then we also have like a dingo music something, and then we all, and it's like,
which that stuff is good, like
yeah, like, but some of those don't deliver it in the way that would make you like want to watch it again.
Yeah.
It's like,
like,
I don't want to watch.
I would want to watch all those again.
I don't want to watch the band live 100 times, you know? It's like cool that they go on it, but like, if that's, I honestly might just rather have a stage, like an extra stage, if there's like not very many stages of it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, back to the songs. Another one that I still do really enjoy is AB6IX Close. I was so there for that comeback, and I could not get enough. I just could not. They promoted that song a lot, though, and so I feel like it really helped. Like, there were so many stages for that. I feel like the promo went on for weeks.
I don't even know what that one is. Is that the one with the tan pants?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I blocked it out.
I think that the styling personally was so good, and that's one of the reasons why I think I tuned in for like every stage. And like I said, there were a lot, so that speaks volumes. But I just, the song I thought was so good, and like the pre-chorus is so catchy, and Eung's parts are really good. I think it helped that they returned to that deep house sound that they started with, because everybody loved it. You know, they would say like, you know, oh, what house does AB6IX live in? Oh, the deep house. Because it's like, that's the sound that everybody, like, you know, started recognizing them for, just based on their first 2 songs, really. And so Close kind of went back to that, and they did it really well. And I had the whole album on repeat. Like, I really loved each of the songs. So honestly, it was a good time. It really was. And I feel like that comeback was honestly like the last comeback that they had before. Don't get me wrong, already some of you are getting me wrong, and you're gonna think I'm saying, oh, their music just dropped. That's not what I'm getting at all. Their music is still really good. But I feel like there was some sort of shift in the way that they were managed, and like the way that they are being promoted now is very different to the way that they were being promoted then. And I feel like back then, they still were getting semi-decent promo. Like, they did a lot during that close era, I think.
I feel like that's probably fair to say.
Okay. But yeah, I honestly, I forget about this song now sometimes. So, yeah, I feel bad.
It's okay. I'm sure they'll forgive you. Well, one song that I feel bad about forgetting is Mafia in the Morning by ITZY. This song, when it came out, I thought was fire. I was like, oh my god, ITZY's done it again. This song is so good. It seems so much like, I don't know things about music, so whenever I talk about music, I use terms that are probably like not detailed enough, or maybe just wrong. But it seems so much like simpler sounding than a lot of their other songs before, but it still was so impactful. And so I really liked it. I loved the choreography. Like, they were just delivering, were they not?
They were. And nobody was there for it.
I know, no one.
I was, you were.
I was. So yeah, they totally were serving, and it was great. And I actually didn't really feel like there were that many stages that I felt I liked the styling of very much, which, because it was just kind of like they kept being a little too, like, not giving me enough with the styling. But like the Studio Choom styling, I love. I think maybe that was part of it again that made it like fall off too soon. But like there was a moment where I was just thought, wow, this song is great. Love it. Want to listen to it all the time. I heard it all the time, like every day probably. And I just nowadays don't ever even remember that they have that song, because I think it's because it's so different than all of their other songs in terms of genre that I always forget. You know, it's like if you think of Icy, you think of darl+ing, you know, It's like they're the same. If you think of Swipe, you think of Loco, you know, that's like there's a lot that are kind of like can be packaged together, so you can think about like chunks of songs. But like what else is like Mafia in the Morning? I feel like nothing. So maybe that's why I forget about it, but like I legitimately like forget about it a lot of the times, and it upsets me because it's so good.
I really do too, to be honest. Like everything you said, I agree. It is really good, but it's probably the ITZY title that I do forget about the most. And it was such a like, you know, like every i-dle was doing the dance when it came out. So it's not even like it was only us that
We're
it
not
was
crazy.
like like maybe the like, I don't know, general, you know, populace didn't feel that way about it, but in the i-dle realm it was catchy.
They knew what taste was.
But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so good. Like I just wish I didn't forget about it so much. It's good.
I feel that way about i-dle's Hwa, because again, all these songs are songs that we really love and really enjoy, or at least like, you know, we appreciated when they came out. And it's like maybe they're not I wouldn't say any of these songs are like the style that's my favorite style of song, but I did listen to them all the time when they came out. But i-dle's Hwa actually is like, I really love the sound of that one. But I watched all the stages once again, and I was really like enjoying that whole style, because it was kind of like, you know, you don't see too many groups really promoting with like a traditional sort of style or sound. So this stood out to me, and I thought it was really pretty, and I thought the song was like, I just thought it sounded really nice and really different. So
Most of the songs or instances that I can think of where idols would be promoting like the traditional style and sound is boy groups, and it's more aggressive.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
It's more intense, you know. There's like a lot of like harsh drum beats and stuff like that. Like 17's newer song,
17, BTS,
Stray Kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a girl group to do one like that, like I can't think of another instance off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely unique. It's definitely one that I forget about as well. I don't, think about idol songs that much, but if I do, I would not be thinking about that one.
I think maybe like because it was the last song with Soojin. Like, yeah, idol as 6 members, I feel like that maybe had a lot to do with why I kind of forget about it, because like it took a lot of time, I think, for behind content for it to come out and stuff like that. And I feel like it seems like it kind of got cut short in a way, and so it like kind of ended all of a sudden, and then there was this like long period of like idol not doing anything, and so it's like, it was kind of a weird era.
Yeah, kind of like Follow with MONSTA X.
Yeah.
Because that song I tend to forget about too. Like it's not one of my songs for this thing, but I can see that being like, yeah, like because of the situation and the timing, it kind of like maybe even just like gets compartmentalized away a little bit in people's minds.
Which is unfortunate because it's a good song.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can transition from this. Another song that I've got here that it doesn't have traditional Korean sound necessarily, but it does have a bit of like a traditional moment or vibe to it. Lalisa by Lisa of Blackpink. It's got, a little bit of like a Thai reference moment at the end, right? So this song, once again, thought it was really great. Wanted to keep listening to it a lot. Unfortunately, once again, it was one of those songs that I really just went back to the music video most often. I didn't really have many stages to go to, or didn't like the stages as much. So maybe that's, factoring in. But it's also, once again, so like, I feel like I'm coming up with the same general reasoning for why I, stopped listening to it. And also I have the general same reasoning for why I liked to listen to it so much and would have wanted to listen to it so much. It, once again, is very dynamic, especially in the music video itself, because she has all the different parts where it changes with the different stylizations. And so it, like as I was saying with other ones, was like a sort of thing where when you're done watching it, you would want to start it again, because it's like it's so different by the time you get to the end that you're like, oh, I could watch it again, like, because the beginning is new again.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the times in this podcast, I end up saying about songs that, oh, well, maybe it was just a little too repetitive, maybe I got a little bored throughout it. And these songs, like, I didn't feel that way with any of these songs. I think that's what makes them so like addictive, is that they've got like a lot going on, but not too much going on either. Like not a lot going on necessarily with like craziness, like whoa, it went all over the place, but just like it flows throughout in a nice way that like you end up someplace a little different along your journey.
Yeah, I think that like I've been agreeing with your songs, like they're kind of forgotten favorites for me as well. Lalisa was definitely a hit like for me, and I thought that the music video was really good too. I still do think it's really good. But I think for me, like I find it that music videos that don't have like a story, like I really like music videos that seem like they're telling a story, like a drama.
Yeah. You do.
But like this one is not really like that, but I still really enjoyed it because it had a lot of different elements and different parts, and I liked how different it was visually. But now it's kind of like, you know, I watched it a lot at the time when it came out because it was something different and fresh, but it's like I'm used to it now, so it doesn't stand out in the same way that it did to me. And I like, you know, I guess maybe that's one of the reasons that I stopped at least going to the music video. But you know, if it comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like so good, it's so catchy.
Yeah, like why don't I ever listen to this anymore?
And I really like the dance too. I think it's like that's really catchy. Everybody was doing that one too. So
yeah, I like it. I just think it's visually interesting to watch and auditorially interesting to listen to.
Mm-hmm. So my last forgotten favorite that I'm going to share today is MONSTA X Jealousy. And
wow, brings me back.
Yeah, it really does. This is probably the first MONSTA X comeback that happened after I knew about them. Like I knew MONSTA X, and then like, you know, time passed, and then this. Yeah, I think Drama Rama was happening like when I first knew about MONSTA X. Like I think that was around the time when I was first kind of into K-pop really. But Jealousy I think was the first comeback, and so I saw their like Inkigayo stage and their purple outfits and the fact that Minhyuk was styled like an anime character. Really honestly, that's what drew me in, and I really liked the choreography for Jealousy, so I watched the dance practice a lot. But I honestly feel like everybody forgets about this one. I literally never remember about the music video. I barely know what it looks like. I just like I kind of remember Jealousy as the MONSTA X title track that I always forget about, but I really like it. Like it's really catchy, but it's really simple at the same time, especially for a MONSTA X song. But and it's not like super light or like, you know, it's not like MONSTA X Newton vibes, but it's not like MONSTA X Love Killa or, you know, Shootout. It's like somewhere in the middle.
It's like got like a smoothness to it.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, I want to say it's crazy, but at the same time, like I knew when you knew about that song and everything, but like I remember the purple stage with MONSTA X, but what I don't remember, like what I didn't remember at the time was that was MONSTA X. Like I remember you watching that stage and me not knowing who it was. Yeah, so the first time that I remember like actually like noticing and knowing MONSTA X was, is it Alligator or Shootout that has the thumbnail that's like the fake love thumbnail?
I think it's Shootout. Yeah.
Shootout time then, with like around when Fake Love was released is when I remember first being able to like see MONSTA X thumbnails and being like, oh, that's MONSTA X, like that. So everything before that, like I didn't know who they were really, but I had seen the Jealousy stage. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, no, I completely forget about that one all the time, and it's not for it being like, you know, bad. It is good. It is catchy. Like anytime Jealousy comes on, you'd be like, oh yeah, okay, Jealousy. But it just falls so under the radar.
Yeah. And it's not a heavy commitment song. It's not. You know, it's a nice easy listen.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's kind of what I meant by like the smoothness.
Smooth,
yeah. Because like a lot of MONSTA X stuff is really harsh. Right. It's not smooth. It's harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jealousy is smooth.
Well, my last sort of official song for this concept topic that we're talking about today is another one that I feel like people are going to think I'm being hypocritical by saying because they've heard me talk about it recently, but still. Somi Dum Dum. This song, you guys don't understand. Like I literally would like check in, you know, like have another listen, like have another watch all the time. And now I don't. So it's like a forgotten favorite. It's like, why don't I listen to that anymore? It's so catchy. I think like the whistling, you know, the sounds, the choreography is so catchy, even though it's like totally not even the vibe of choreography that I would like. It's just so, like, how can you not just play it again and again? I just feel like it's so catchy.
It has similar vibes to Jealousy. Like, there's not a whole lot going on, but there's not nothing going on.
Yeah.
It's like a nice, like, easy listen. That's like, it's not too long either. So, you know, you can start it again.
And once again, it's very dynamic. Like, it has a change that happens. So this keeps coming back up. But yeah, and I love the stage, the Inkigayo stage, where, spoiler if you haven't seen it, but the one where she like changes outfits and like the whole look of the stage changes.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So cool. Like there was a lot of great elements to this comeback from Somi that I just thought like, ooh, that's nice. And honestly, she's good at that, because like her comeback that she just did with Fast Forward had some like interesting, you know, different ways that she went about like promoting the song as well. Like one time she was like doing the like nerdy look, but then other times she does the futuristic look. Like it has a lot of dynamics as well. But yeah, so once again, I just feel like on repeat song, lots of dynamics to it. Had it on repeat all the time, and then why did I stop? I don't know, but it's a fun listen, you know? It's got a nice energy, a nice mood, things like that. And yeah, I can't exactly say why that one stopped for me.
Yeah.
I think honestly part of it was because of Somi not doing anything for so long after. Sometimes I forget about a group or person entirely if they don't like keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like that was the Somi song that I listened to, and so she had the other one after that, but I didn't like it as much. Maybe that was what happened. So it made me forget about Somi.
Oh yeah, you didn't like XOXO.
I didn't like XOXO. So maybe I like started to forget that Somi had a song that I liked. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I think
probably it.
That's probably it. Okay, well, I also had two other songs that don't quite fit the category or the stipulations that we had, but I still do kind of feel the same way about them, so I figured I could briefly mention them as like honorable mentions a little bit.
Okay.
So I also wanted to talk about I'm Fine by BTS.
Absolute masterpiece, brilliant song.
Exactly. But it's not a title track, but they did do promotion for it, and it's just so good. And every time that I hear it, I'm repeating myself so much. Every time I hear it, I think, why don't I listen to this anymore? Because it's so good. Once again, also very dynamic, especially with the choreography and like as you're watching the stage performance, like it just keeps you so engaged.
That choreography is really good.
And I also really like the it's weird because I don't actually really like the styling for it. Like a lot of the times I didn't think that they actually looked the best, but I like the pieces of the styling.
Yeah.
And like the dynamics of the styling, like how much there was to look at that like would be things that I might enjoy. Like, oh, those bejeweled sneakers. Like, wow, those are so sneakers. Nice. Stuff like
the
that.
Pastels.
The
tie-dye sort of.
Yes. Yeah. Like I liked the colors and the glitteriness and those elements that like it made me keep wanting to go back and like see the stuff again or like see more stuff. So very, very dynamic, very interesting, and yeah, the song itself a masterpiece.
And the general concept, like that they did, like everything, like
brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it just really feels like it's a shame. Like it should be listened to more often by me.
I feel like for me, I definitely do like I really love that song. I don't think I could put it in forgotten favorites though, although I don't really listen to it that much. But I'm not like, I get why you're saying that, but I couldn't say that about it because I think my thing with it is that it's so good that I like reserve my listens of it. Like I'm like, it's too good. I can't listen to it right now. Like I really have to listen when I listen to it, and I don't want to like, I don't want to spoil the goodness of it and like listen to it too much.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Very interesting, but like very applicable and very understandable. I totally. Okay, so then I had one more song. It's like way far away from our correct stipulations. It's MONSTA X Phenomenon. So it's just a Japanese release. It's not really something they ever promoted or anything, but there is a music video for it. And I think it's super good, super catchy. And when I first found out about it, I don't know if it was when it was released, but when I first heard it for the first time, I was like, oh my God, listen to this song. This is crazy. And it was crazy in such an addictive and good way that like I had to just keep listening to it all the time. It was like, oh yeah, X Phenomenon, I'll put that on again. And then kind of like Jealousy, I just kind of completely forgot about it. And I was like, oh my God, that song is so good.
Yeah, I can't believe now how like strange it was when you first told me to listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, because now it's like, oh yeah, that's X Phenomenon. I do still think of it as the song that does that. But it's like not weird because it works so well and it sounds so good.
Yeah.
But it's like it was so standout when we first heard it.
Yeah. Like it changed so much and so drastically that like I couldn't believe that it was doing that, but I was also thinking like first listen, I was thinking, but it's good.
Yeah. And it's like I think it also, for me personally, has like, it's like you get a little piece of each style of MONSTA X song in there. Like, so I think that makes me like it a lot too.
Yeah. So maybe a little bit of the reason, that it might have not stuck with me as much is because that does wear off, that feeling of it being very dynamic and different. Like it is that way, but like the initial like shock that you get does fade over time. So maybe that makes it fade in terms of listening. But yeah, it should be listened to more often by me, I can tell you that much, because it's really good. And honestly, I should listen to MONSTA X in general more than I do for how much I talk about liking their stuff. I feel like they end up maybe not getting listened to as often because you don't also like listen to them as much as I would. So like if you listen to a group really often, then I end up hearing it more often than if just I was responsible for going to the music myself. But with MONSTA X, it can tend to be more like I would have to actually listen to it on my own more often.
Yeah, we have I'll have to play more MONSTA X around you. But the thing is like we like the opposite MONSTA X, It's like I like Shine Forever, From Zero, Newton style, and you like, the darker ones.
Yeah, Gambler and I don't know the other ones. Shoot Out Alligator. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. We have contrasting tastes.
Yeah.
Well, those were all of the songs that we sort of had in mind that we're kind of reminding ourselves of right now.
Mm-hmm.
I went back, before we talked about this today, I went back and consumed a content piece for each of these songs, and for each one I thought, wow, yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you can kind of take these songs as like a recommendation if you haven't heard them yet, and you can go and listen to them because they are all really good and we should listen to them more, so you should listen to them more.
And there are a lot of different like genres of sound here. A lot.
Yeah.
Like we actually talked about like a wide range or wide variety. So I'm sure there's something that you'd like.
Yeah. If you ever want to hear like us do more forgotten favorites, we could probably offer up another part at some point. So you can go ahead and leave a comment if you'd ever be interested in that. And you can also comment some of your forgotten favorite K-pop songs, or maybe, you know, tell us if you think the same about any of the songs that we mentioned. If you enjoyed this episode, you can like the video on YouTube and subscribe to the BlushCat channel and turn on notifications. And you can go ahead and follow BlushCat on Spotify. And I really hope that you did enjoy this episode.
We enjoyed talking about everything, so.
So thank you for listening.
Thanks so much.
Have a nice day.
Evening.
This has been Xander.
And me. Bye.
Meow, meow.